Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Joel Hancock. It is live at 5 here on Facebook Live. Thanks for joining me. Give a few seconds for some people to catch up. As I told you, today what I'd like to talk about is a question that I get a lot, and that is, if I hire an attorney, do I have to come to court? The answer to that question is actually a little bit more complicated than you would think. And I want to give you a few examples to maybe illustrate why answering that question can be complicated. So, the general rule is if your attorney thinks that it's going to be good for your case for you to show up, then you should go to court. There are some things that you may never need to show up to court for if you hire an attorney. Some simple matters. So one, and I posted this on Facebook and Instagram beforehand, so you kind of, I showed my hand, you see where I'm going with this. If, if you have like a speeding ticket or something very simple that you would even be able to just mail in a check to the clerk's office and pay it off. I'm not saying you should do that, but there are certain things that you don't even have to show up to court if you don't hire an attorney. In a simple case like that, then yeah, it's probably not going to be a problem if you don't show up to court. Your attorney will normally send you what's called a waiver of appearance. That's a document that you sign that gives the permission to go to court on your behalf and enter pleas, get reduced charges, pay court costs, etc. Generally, speeding tickets, other simple traffic matters, waivable offenses, it's not going to be any trouble for your attorney to go to court for you. And a lot of times that's what you're hiring an attorney for. Now, your attorney will provide more value than just that for a lot of things, but he will at least provide that value for several things. And, all right, it looks like the feed was interrupted there for a second. Sorry about that. But, sorry again, everybody. All right, I apologize. So, your attorney will be able to go to court for you to do that and provide that service for you. Now, another extreme example would be, and again, I'm sorry for the video quality. It looks like I'm having some drop frames here. Another extreme example would be if you're charged like with a felony and it's indicted and you're up in Superior Court. You have to show up to court for that almost every time, unless the DA and your attorney have come to an agreement that for a specific setting your presence isn't needed. You almost always have to show up to court for that. Let's talk about one brief exception to one of the rules that I just told you, and that is, let's say that you have a simple speeding ticket, something that you would be able to go and pay off easily without even having to show up to court, but you've hired an attorney and you're trying to get a reduced charge, but you were rude to the officer, or you gave the officer trouble, you gave the officer problems during the stop, you said something, you ran your mouth, and now you're trying to get an attorney to represent you to either get you out of it or get you help, get you a reduced charge, get you some leniency for what you did. In that situation, it may well be the case that you need to show up to court and own up for what you've done in order to get help. So because you've kind of put yourself in a bad position on the front end, and we talked about this last week about how to act during a traffic stop, why it could work out to your advantage. But let's say you've ignored that advice, you've been rude during a traffic stop, and now you want help. Maybe the best chance for you to get any help in court is for you to actually show up, apologize to the officer, apologize to the court. But again, your attorney is going to know exactly what you need to do. So those are three examples. Simple speeding tickets, maybe you don't need to show up. Felonies, almost always you need to show up. There are things kind of in the middle where it may be simple, but you've made it complicated by running your mouth. then you do need to show up. There are other things where I've had military clients before that have not been able to come back to North Carolina due to military service, and they've had more serious charges that wouldn't typically be taken care of without being present. But they've authorized me, and we've been able to discuss with the state and with the judge beforehand that we're going to do a plea or try to take care of the case without my client here, and we've been able to arrange that. Again, your attorney is going to know best, but certainly I want the common understanding for all of these things to be that no matter what, you need to hire an attorney for whatever it is that you need to go to court for, or for whatever it is that you have a court date for, because that's almost always going to work to your advantage. So I put in the description, if you guys have ever had a court case, where you're required to go to court, you don't have to give any details about what it was, but if you want to share something about an experience that you had where you did have to go to court or where you didn't, leave it in the comments below. Or if you have any other questions that you'd like for me to answer on the show at some later date, leave it below. At any rate, I certainly appreciate everybody watching. I'm sorry again for